Centuries from now, Earth was no longer the quiet, fragile planet it once was. Humans had reached far beyond the stars, creating technology that many believed was unstoppable. Their ships moved faster than light, their weapons more powerful than anything seen before. But this progress did not go unnoticed. In the dark reaches of the galaxy, a powerful alien coalition called the Zilari watched Earth closely. The Zilari were an ancient and highly advanced species, ruling over many worlds, with strict control. To them, humanity was unpredictable and dangerous, a species that refused to obey, that grew too fast and too strong. The stories the Zilari heard about humans made them wary. They saw Earth as a threat that could one day challenge their authority. So the leaders of the Zilari Council made a chilling decision. They would strike first. Without warning, they sent their fleets toward Earth with one clear mission: to destroy humanity before it could rise again. The attack was swift and brutal. Huge warships appeared in the skies above the major cities, their weapons unleashing fire and destruction unlike anything Earth had ever faced. Skyscrapers crumbled to dust, power grids exploded, and communication lines went dark. Panic spread like wildfire. But the human defenders, no matter how brave, were overwhelmed. The Zilari weapons were unlike any humans had designed. Energy, beams that cut through armor, bombs that turned landscapes into wastelands. As the world burned, people tried to run, to hide, but there was nowhere safe on the surface anymore. Governments fell apart, and armies dissolved into chaos. Yet, even in this darkness, a small spark of hope remained. Some humans managed to escape the deadly strikes by fleeing underground into tunnels and bunkers built long before the war. These hidden enclaves became the last refuges of humanity, places where survivors gathered, sharing stories of loss and survival. In these shadowed halls, they worked tirelessly to keep their history and knowledge alive. Scientists salvaged broken machines and studied the enemy's technology, trying to find any weakness. Leaders emerged, urging the survivors to stay strong and to remember that Earth was not lost forever. But the weight of defeat was heavy. The skies above were filled with Zilari ships, patrolling constantly to stop any attempts at rebuilding. The surface was a silent graveyard of once great cities, scarred by fire and ash. Despite this, underground communities clung to hope. Every day they trained, prepared, and planned for the moment when they could rise again. Some children born in these tunnels had never seen the sun, yet their spirits were fierce and determined. They learned about Earth's history and the fight for survival, dreaming of a future where humans would return to the surface, free and powerful once more. The Zilari believed they had ended the human threat. They thought the people of Earth would never recover. But humans had always been survivors. In the darkness beneath the ruined planet, a quiet rebellion was growing, one fueled not by weapons, but by the unbreakable will to endure. The first strike had shattered the world above, but it could not destroy the fire burning deep within humanity's heart. After the devastating attack that shattered Earth's surface and crushed the hopes of many, humanity's survivors found themselves trapped in a world buried beneath rubble and silence. The sky above remained darkened by Zilari warships, their patrols relentless, ensuring no human dared to rise or rebuild openly. Yet, in the depths underground, life persisted. The survivors were no longer just ordinary people. They had become shadows moving quietly through tunnels and hidden chambers, blending old Earth knowledge with new tactics born of necessity. Time passed, and these pockets of humanity began to change. They adapted not only to survive but to fight back in ways the Zilari never expected. Engineers and scientists worked feverishly to create technology suited for their hidden war. Machines that moved silently, weapons that could strike quickly and vanish before enemy sensors could detect them. The underground became a maze of secret workshops and training grounds where fighters honed their skills in guerrilla warfare, mastering the art of hit-and-run attacks. Every move was planned with care, knowing that the slightest mistake could mean death or capture. Despite the danger, the human spirit burned brightly. Leaders emerged from the darkness, people with vision and courage who inspired hope when it was needed most. They shared stories of the past and plans for the future, reminding everyone that Earth's surface was not lost forever and that humanity's place in the stars was still within reach. But even as humans built their strength, beneath the ruins they understood they could not fight alone. The galaxy was vast, and not all alien races supported the Zalari's harsh rule. Some had grown uneasy with the Coalition's brutal methods and began to question the Council's motives for destroying Earth. Through careful and secret communications, human envoys reached out to these sympathetic allies, other species who saw value in humanity's resilience and potential. These unlikely friendships brought new resources, knowledge, and a broader sense of purpose. Together, they shared technology and intelligence, finding ways to disrupt Zalari operations from the shadows. With each success, human hope grew stronger. The alliance was fragile and dangerous, but it was the first sign that the tide might be turning. The ruins above were silent, but beneath the earth, whispers of rebellion stirred. Scouts and spies risked their lives to gather information from the surface and enemy territory, bringing back critical details that shaped human strategies. They discovered weaknesses in the Zalari supply lines and identified isolated outposts ripe for attack. Every small victory was a spark, lighting the way for a future where humanity could fight not just to survive, but to reclaim their home. The survivors also had to face new challenges. The underground was harsh and unforgiving, and resources were scarce. Food, water, and energy had to be rationed carefully. Every decision was a test of endurance and faith. Yet the people persevered, driven by memories of the world lost and dreams of what could be again. Children born in these hidden worlds grew up learning the truth of their past and the importance of their future mission. They trained not only in combat, but in science, engineering, and diplomacy, preparing for the day they could step into the light. The Zalari, unaware of the quiet strength growing beneath their feet, continued their patrols with confidence, believing Earth was broken beyond repair. But humans were more than broken machines or fallen cities. They were survivors, thinkers, and fighters. In the shadows beneath the ashes, humanity was gathering power, weaving a web of resistance that would one day challenge the might of the Zalari. The story of Earth was far from over. In the depths of the underground, hope was alive, and the future was waiting to be reclaimed. In the depths of the underground resistance, where hope had been quietly growing like a hidden flame, a new leader arose. Kyla, a young commander known for her sharp mind and fearless spirit. She had grown up in the tunnels, hearing stories of Earth's past glory and the terrible fall, but she was not content to live forever in the shadows. Kyla believed humanity's fight was far from over, and that the only way to truly reclaim their place was to take the battle back to the stars. Her vision was bold and dangerous. Instead of hiding and waiting for the enemy to come, she wanted to strike at the heart of the Zalari Empire. This was a plan no one dared to speak aloud before, but Kayla's determination inspired those around her. Using whatever technology they could find, much of it scavenged from fallen Zalari outposts and wrecked ships, Kayla and her team worked tirelessly. They adapted alien technology, modifying old human ships to fly faster, fight smarter, and sneak through enemy defenses. Every day they tested new weapons and strategies, knowing that even the smallest advantage could turn the tide. Her fleet was small, but made up of the best pilots and fighters humanity had left, people who believed in the cause with every fiber of their being. When the time came, Kayla led them out of the underground tunnels and into the cold darkness of space. The first missions were full of tension and danger. They moved silently, striking Zalari supply lines and communication hubs, always vanishing before the enemy could respond. Each victory was a sign that the humans were more than just survivors. They were warriors reborn. As they pressed deeper into enemy territory, Kayla and her crew uncovered secrets that explained the Zalari's deep fear of humans. Hidden in data cores and ancient ruins, they found records hinting at a past long forgotten, a time when humans had possessed remarkable abilities, both mental and physical, far beyond what was known in their current world. This history was buried and lost during the early years of space exploration, but it explained why the Zalari wanted to stop humanity from rising again at any cost. The aliens feared what humans could become if they unlocked their full potential. The discovery added urgency to Kayla's mission. It was not just about survival or revenge. It was about reclaiming a destiny that had been stolen. With every outpost they destroyed, the human fleet grew bolder and word of their success spread through the underground networks. More survivors volunteered, more ships were repaired and armed, and more alliances were formed with other alien species who wanted to see the Zellari's control challenged. But the war was far from easy. The Zellari adapted quickly, sending hunters and assassins after the human fleet, setting traps in the dark corners of space. Kayla's leadership was tested as never before. Each battle required her to be clever, to think ahead, and to trust her crew completely. There were losses, painful sacrifices that reminded everyone of the high cost of freedom. Yet, through it all, Kayla's belief in humanity's strength never wavered. She knew that humans were not just fighting with weapons, but with their spirit, their creativity, and their will to survive. The human fleet became known among the stars as the Phoenix, rising from ashes and flame, unstoppable and determined. As they moved closer to the Zellari's core worlds, the truth about humanity's forgotten powers began to awaken in some of the crew. Strange abilities surfaced: sharp intuition, quick healing, and a deep connection to ancient technologies. These changes startled everyone, but also gave new hope that the legends were real, and humanity's future was brighter than anyone dared to imagine. Kayla stood at the center of this new era, guiding her people not just to fight, but to remember who they were and what they could become. The return of the Phoenix was more than a battle plan. It was a symbol of rebirth, strength, and a promise that no matter how dark the night, dawn would come again for Earth and its people. As Kayla's daring campaign spread through the Zellari territories, the alien leaders who once believed Earth had been crushed forever began to realize the terrible truth. Their initial strike had been a grave mistake. The humans were not the broken, defeated species they had assumed. Instead, what the Zellari faced was a force of resilience and creativity, unlike anything in the galaxy. Every attack launched by the human fleet was unpredictable, striking where the enemy least expected and disappearing before retaliation could even begin. The Zellari, despite their advanced technology and vast armies, found themselves confused and frustrated by the humans' refusal to follow any predictable pattern. What made humanity dangerous was not just their weapons but their spirit, an unbreakable will that refused to bow under pressure. For the first time in centuries, the Zellari questioned their place in the galaxy and feared the humans they had tried to erase. The war was no longer just about survival for the humans. It had become a battle to prove that the human spirit could never be crushed or controlled. Kayla's leadership inspired her people to push beyond limits they had never imagined. She united diverse groups of survivors and alien allies who shared a common goal: to end the Zellari's tyranny and reclaim freedom for all oppressed species. These alliances were fragile but powerful, built on mutual respect and the shared pain of loss. Together they fought side by side, learning from each other's strengths and discovering new ways to challenge the once mighty Zellari Empire. Along the way, the humans began to uncover ancient technologies buried deep beneath Earth's surface and scattered across forgotten worlds. These discoveries changed the course of the war. The technologies were unlike anything they had used before: machines and tools that could manipulate energy in ways that stunned even the most advanced alien scientists. As humans studied and adapted these ancient relics, some began to awaken strange new abilities within themselves, echoing the secrets Kayla's team had found earlier. These powers ranged from heightened senses to the ability to control certain energies, abilities that surpassed anything the Zellari possessed. The Zellari, once confident in their dominance, now faced an enemy evolving faster than they could respond. This shift caused panic among their ranks, forcing them to retreat from some of their key strongholds and rethink their entire strategy. Battles grew fiercer and more unpredictable. In the midst of this chaos, acts of sacrifice became common among the humans. Fighters risked everything to protect their comrades, often choosing to stand their ground against impossible odds to give others time to escape or complete vital missions. These moments became stories passed among the people, stories that fueled the fire of hope and courage in every heart. The war was not just about machines and weapons. It was about the will to survive, to protect loved ones, and to prove that humanity's soul was something no enemy could ever take away. Kayla watched as her people grew stronger, not just in power but in spirit. She knew that true victory would not come from technology alone, but from the unity and determination that bound humans together. Even when faced with setbacks and losses, the humans never lost faith in their cause. The story of Earth, once thought to be ending in ashes, was being rewritten with every victory and every sacrifice. The Zalari's fear deepened as they saw more and more signs of humanity's unyielding nature. They had struck first with the hope of ending a threat, but had instead awakened a force that could not be stopped. The war was far from over, but the unbreakable spirit of humanity was now the greatest weapon against their oppressors, proving to the galaxy that no matter the odds, humans would always rise again. After years of fierce struggle and countless sacrifices, the grip of the Zalari over the galaxy began to weaken. Their once powerful fleets retreated from the edges of human space, and their outposts, once thought untouchable, fell one by one to the relentless human fleet led by Kayla and her allies. The time had come for humanity to return to the planet they once called home, not as victims hiding in the shadows, but as victors standing tall. The surface of Earth was a scarred and broken place, a world battered by fire and war. Yet beneath, the ruined cities and blackened skies, there was a promise of renewal. Humans came back in ships that glided silently over the barren lands, their eyes filled with determination and hope. They did not come to simply survive, but to rebuild, to make Earth stronger and wiser than it had ever been before. With every step taken on the cracked soil, the people who had once been driven underground began to heal not only the planet, but their own spirits as well. Engineers and scientists worked alongside farmers and builders, using the ancient technologies they had discovered and the lessons learned from the Long War to create a new world. The air was purified, plants began to grow again, and the once dead oceans showed signs of life returning. This was not just a restoration of Earth's natural beauty, but a rebirth of human civilization, a chance to build a society that valued unity, strength, and resilience. The planet's new cities rose from the ashes, cities designed not only to survive attacks but to thrive in harmony with their environment and with the many alien allies who now stood with humanity. Earth became a beacon of hope, a shining example in the galaxy of what could be achieved when a people refused to give up. The story of humanity's fall and rise spread across star systems, inspiring oppressed species and reminding even the most powerful forces that the human spirit was not to be underestimated. The Zalari, once arrogant and certain of their victory, now faced the consequences of their underestimation. They learned that striking first and hoping to destroy a species was a dangerous gamble. Humans were more than flesh and bone, they were ideas, courage, and an unbreakable will. The final battles had been brutal, but they forged a new path for Earth and its people. Kayla, standing on a hill overlooking a sunrise that bathed the land in golden light, felt a deep sense of peace mixed with responsibility. The fight was far from over. Challenges still lay ahead, and the scars of war would take time to heal. But the dawn was real. It was proof that no matter how dark the night, humanity would always find a way to rise again. The lessons of the past echoed in every heart. Strength came from unity, hope from persistence, and victory from an unyielding spirit. The galaxy watched as Earth stood proud, not as a symbol of defeat, but as a fortress of strength and resilience. No one would ever dare to strike first at humanity again, for they had learned the hard truth. Humans did not just survive the fire, they became the fire itself, fierce, unstoppable, and eternal.